Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. So, we're coming up on an election soon, and now that we've got our trade unions demarginalized, I'm going to see how that shapes our politics. This guy's a social democrat, so I think they're likely to join up with the rural folk. And we're going to see how that's going to change the structure of our country. Cash flow is still very good. We're spending a lot in subventions. We're subventing the bejesus out of fabric. Maybe we don't do that. Yeah, I think maybe we don't do that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Now we're mostly not paying subventions. Only sugar and fine art, which is fine. Because I think part of the issue is the United States actually owns a lot of the cotton industry in Italy. So that's actually just sort of feeding goods into American. Okay, I feel certain I built up more power plants in Tuscany than I've got, but maybe not. So we're gonna need 6 levels here. Istria, are you also having a power problem? Yes, you sure are. Trampled underfoot. A demonstration organized by the positivist movement in Venezia has been violently suppressed by police, leading to several fatalities and serious injuries. Memories of the incident have become a rallying cry for dissidents. He'd been smiling when he ordered his horse through the crowd. His expression was etched in her mind as if by acid on a metal plate. What kind of man could maintain such a hideous serenity amongst the screams, the broken bones, and spurts of blood? As people fled around him, he had ordered his officers forward, and then what? Amidst the blur of human terror, she'd found herself sheltering in a haphazardly shuttered bar. Many others had not been so lucky. When she walked through the place where the demonstration had been held, she could not tell how many of the people sprawled across the flagstones were still moving. Censure the officers responsible, petite bourgeoisie and armed forces upset. 2% of pops in Venezia become more radical, or they were ordered to disperse. The police are not to blame. 10% of pops in Venezia become more radical. Armed forces and petite bourgeoisie very happy. I'm going to do the second one. I need to keep the petite bourgeoisie happy because middle managers is very important. Is a very important ability. Now, we're at about 30k in interest, which is a lot. I'm going to keep my taxes high through the end of the election next year, and we'll see how that impacts our political situation. So, I built up Istria, I built up Tuscany, and Apulia, I believe the only shortage here is power. So that should be good. We're still building just a huge mass of Turin cars. You know what? I could actually put a really healthy consumption tax on them. So maybe if I cut the consumption tax on meat. Cool, there's the battleship. Oh, but I don't actually have that much. Alright, well, that was dumb. Can I get me more authority somewhere? Not a place that's efficient. It's kind of efficient. Alright, cool. Automobiles, go. Now, we are short on taxation capacity in a few areas, particularly Lazio. How much do we need? We need like 6 levels here. Campania, we're fine. Umbria, we need 2 levels. Tuscany, we're alright. Let's go back to this, right. Abruzzo. Abruzzo and Umbria. Umbria I already did. Abruzzo I haven't done yet. Tax cap, We need like 4 levels here. Hold on, I think I accidentally built a... Nope, I didn't. A railway. I was going to say a railway. And then Venezia... We need 2 levels. And then Sicily, we need 1. I'm just going to throw all these government admins at the top of the queue. They are not one of those. Taxation capacity. Because these will get done really fast. Somewhere it's the end of spring. The most dangerous game. This event, I don't think I've seen since like 1.2. Returning from a safari expedition, Amedeo Solara de la Margarita, who is one of our armed forces guys, was marooned on a small island in the West Indies. There he was hunted like an animal by the fantasy aristocrat Bertrand de Talleyrand Perigord. Oh my goodness, that's extremely funny. Splendid! One of us is to furnish a repast for the hounds. The other will sleep on this very excellent bread. On guard, Amadeo! Amadeo never slept in a better bed. Bertrand de Talleyrand Perigord dies. Haha, get out of here. That's funny. It's been a long time since I've seen that event. That's a very fun and silly flavor event. A disreputable bookkeeper. A bookkeeper in government administration employed by the Italian-American Society is under investigation for bribery. The committee leading the investigation gather to consider the facts collected. They argue over the scandal. I understand the Italian-American Society benefits from a close relationship to the lawmakers of Italy, but these lobbyists cannot be authorized to pledge any amount of money to ensure success. The Italian-American Society is responsible for the agent they hire, extra legitimacy, and they get a little bit salty, which, they're not feeling great. Or perhaps it was just a clerical error. 5% of bureaucrats become more loyalists and the industrialists become happier. I'm going to do the first one. Legitimacy is good to have. It's good to have a little buffer here as we get going into election season, which is coming up soon. Right? Where is it? Where's my... Yeah, here we go. July. We're hurtling towards an election. Alright, we're building up quite a bit here. Including all those power plants that I need. Cash flow is doing very well. If I want to shove myself back into the first place, I could build up my armies. But there is obviously the question of... having the capacity. Oh, thank goodness. I can actually upgrade my dreadnoughts to battleships now that I've got them. That's wonderful. That's going to be so much easier. Excellent. I think the third fleet we're going to do the same. Just we have to wait until they're back in Italy, and then we'll see where we are in the rankings because battleships are significantly better than dreadnoughts. I'm really glad that spread to us. That's a wonderful tech to have in our back pocket here. Now we're working on military aviation, and we're closing in on mobile armor. And that'll be just fine. How's the market doing? Cars are still hideously expensive. Alright, so, now we're in election season. Let's see what the election looks like. We have... The Right Party still exists, the Conservative Catholics exist again, the Agrarian Party still exists, and the PSI exist. PSI are just the trade unions, Agrarian Party are just the rural folk. So we're going to see kind of how this shakes out. That's likely made our government extremely low legitimacy. Let's boot out the rural folk. It's going to cause some radicalization, but they're also going to get a little bit stronger in the interim due to the high taxes. And then we'll see what happens. I think ultimately it's better for the PSI clearly has a higher base point at this stage. The right still looks like they're likely to win the election, but I think between the Agrarian Party and the PSI, I can get up past them. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very interested. We are actually nearly finished knocking our debt down, which I'm feeling actually quite happy about. Overly enthusiastic partisans. Supporters of the PSI have gone beyond simply campaigning for their own party, harassing and sometimes physically attacking opposing partisans. I'm a simple party man, that's all. I know who I like, and I know who I don't like, and I know I want my people to win and their people to lose. Crack down on PSI activities, minus 10% momentum, or let them continue unmolested, weaker petite bourgeoisie. I'm going to do the second one, because I want to get the PSI some momentum around here. The pounds per square inch party. That's not what that means, but I think it'd be funny if it did. Okay, nice. Why is Tripolitania taking so long to heal this devastation? Maybe devastation heals slower when it's higher level. But like... No, Britain's also taking forever to heal their devastation. So if I want to get back into the top spot, I've got to increase... Probably my navies, actually, is how I want to do it. So we'll go ahead and just throw 10 additional levels each of battleships and dreadnoughts into my secondary fleets. Let's build up Sicily. Or, not battleships and dreadnoughts, what am I talking about? Battleships and scout cruisers. And then for my main fleet, I'm going to add 5 more levels of scout cruisers, and... Do I want submarines? I don't think so. I think I want battleships. Battleships are reduced convoy rating efficiency. Yeah, we'll put some submarines in there. Not too many. Alright. Proposal from New Grenada. You want to share investment rights for trade privileges and fruit. I don't need your fruit, sir. Well, you could sell them on the open market. But no, I don't want you undercutting my businesses. Decline. Also, I don't particularly care to invest in New Grenada, personally. Wow. Okay. Meat is still being bought at a high price in my customs union. So let's continue to expand the meat industry. Livestock industry. Maybe actually we'll increase import tariffs. And to compensate, we'll do some export subventions, and that will help the industry. What's the world market look like from a meat perspective? Meat's still kind of expensive in the world market. So yeah, let's increase the size of our livestock ranches. Let's throw 10 levels in Piedmont. We'll max out Umbria, 10 levels in Campania, and we'll max out Savoy, and another 10 levels in Apulia. Finish out Tuscany, finish out Lazio, and that'll be good. The Red Scare. Members of the right have been vigorously warning voters against the PSI's electoral campaign. First, they'll take your boss's house, and you'll thank them for it. You'll receive them as the promised savior and kneel before them. Then they'll take your neighbor's house, and you'll try to convince them. You'll say, but he's a good man, I know him. But it won't matter in the slightest. Then they'll take your car, and you'll think to yourself, it's fine, I don't need a car anyways. And can you guess what happens next? You know what happens next. Those leftists are traitors to the nation, minus 30% momentum. The rhetoric here is needlessly alarmist, minus 20% momentum. Government interest group approval, minus 2. Or, the PSI has every right to spread its ideas, plus 10% momentum. Petite bourgeoisie, industrialists, and armed forces, a little mad. We're going to do the third one. The defender of decency. Chagort has fallen to a revolution amongst the armed forces. In the campaign materials of the right, Monaldo Bonacorsi has immediately denounced the armed forces here, preempting a similar revolt. You would name me a traitor? Of that, I'm certain you are. Many aboard in Chagort would think similarly to you. What's to say you're not a traitor already, plotting sedition with the members of your book club? You've gone mad! Someone must stand against the revolutionary tired, extra momentum to the right, armed forces unhappy, or Tagurda's far away and this is here, reduce momentum to the right, armed forces weaker. I'm going to do the second one, I guess. That's really weird, because Tagurt isn't... The armed forces are in the right. So the PSI is slightly increasing in momentum, not as much as one might think. I haven't had that much opportunity to give them extra stuff, but with PSI and Agrarian Party potentially together being able to hold over 50% of the vote, I think they might be able to snag a really rock-solid position here. Now, we're almost through our... almost completely through our debt. The PSI is receiving electoral campaign support from the communist trade unions in Canada. So comrades, come rally. In the last fight let us face. The Internationale unites the human race. Canadian socialists are welcome here. 30% momentum, communist ideology more likely to appear in the country. Or try to limit foreign influence, only 10% momentum. I'm going to go with the first one. I'm not necessarily looking to flip to communism, but I've got a social democrat heading up the PSI right now, and having them growing stronger is potentially a good thing. Radio production. The production of radios in our factories has led to a boom in employment and profits. Telephones? No. Who wants a telephone? One person talks to another person? Useless. What you want is a radio. One person talks to hundreds, nay thousands, and the best part, they can't talk back. More radios, extra radio building throughput, or we should spread this knowledge. Switzerland gets a bunch of progress for radios and improves relations. My relations with Switzerland are rock solid right now. On the other hand, more radios isn't necessarily good for me just in the market. Well, radios are expensive. Yeah, more radios. That's going to really dramatically increase the supply of radios. At least I thought it was going to. Let's wait until next week. We're bringing in a lot of ammo from abroad right now. So let's throw an import tariff in there. Because I don't want to be bringing in this much ammo. I want to be manufacturing mostly my own ammo. Okay, radical revolt in Tripolitania. That's not a tragedy. Where's my third corps? Oh, they're way off here. They're way off in South Africa. Alright, Southern Africa. The country is East Africa, but the location is Southern Africa, which is now going down in Liberty Desire significantly. Anywhere I could reduce the thing, I can. Siam, Serbia, Greece. Whose autonomy do I want to reduce the most? Who's got the biggest economy? Greece has got 21.6 million. Siam's got 17.3 million. Serbia's got 12.3 million. Greece? Let's be better friends. How much are they paying us now? I just want to check before I continue. Love that diplomatic pact line item. 27 minus 9, so about 16k. Pretty good. Bread, butter, ballots. With the price of meat soaring across the country, the conservative Catholics is finding itself under relentless pressure from the opposition, accused of recklessly toying with the welfare of its citizens. High price of meat? Humbug. In my youth, we would make do with even less than what we have now, for double the labor. These outrageous food prices are nothing more than the musings of hysterical housewives. They'll just have to eat something else then, reduce momentum to the conservative Catholics, or fund soup kitchens. A man with a full belly makes fewer mistakes, costs a bunch of cash. I'm going to do the first one. Reducing the momentum for the conservative Catholics is not necessarily bad for my overall election strategy, given that I intend to pull them out of the government. If I can get the Agrarian Party past the right, that would be ideal. Again, the PSI's got more potential. Like, the Agrarian Party are kind of being buffered by this huge amount of momentum that they've built up over winning a lot of elections over a very, very long time period. Greece is damaging relations. Greece, why are you rebellious? Your liberty desire is going down, down, down. You fool. Am I low on legitimacy due to... No, it's only the taxes. It's only the taxes and having too many interest groups in the government. Hey, there's military aviation. Wonderful. Let's go to air recon. Yeah, air recon is better. But before we do that, I need to grab the automotive industry and create a supply of airplanes. Beautiful. Oh, we can do both. All right, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we're working on mobile armor. Alright. After that, I think I need to increase the size of some of these armies. Because I want to keep that top spot. So let's do... There we go. That's a nice round number. And then for extra siege artillery, we'll just build up... we really at only 5 in Venezia? Or 20 more. Nice. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. And then third corps, which we've done a very large expansion of already, we'll continue to build up. And that'll be nice. That'll eat away at some of our additional cash flow, but it will also give us a lot of good stuff. So there's the election. Now we can shift up the government. Didn't go as well as I was hoping, but that's okay. Let's throw these two parties in here, and let's drop taxes back to a reasonable number. And we've got aircraft carriers spreading. So that was an interesting election cycle. Got a lot of interesting things done. And now we've got the trade unions and the government finally. Which means I can finally do a compulsory primary school. This will anger my industrialists, but it's not going to affect any movements. It's going to be a little difficult. Can I get an agitator who cares about that? The ideology we need is reformer, I believe. Unless nihilist will do it? No. Reformer. Reformer, reformer, reformer. Doesn't look like we've got one. Communists don't care about that. Traditionalists certainly don't. Alright, well, it is what it is. Let's give it a shot. Time to work. Obviously, this is going to make the industrialists mad, which is going to reduce taxation, but that is what it is. It is the nature of things. Right, obviously, this army is a little bit low in organization, but they're getting back up there, and now we're going here. How's the market for airplanes in the country? They're quite cheap, it seems like. Yeah, well, a lot of them are being bought abroad, so, you know, that's fine. We can sell airplanes abroad, no problem. Right, because I need aircraft carriers to create a baseline market for them. That's what's needed for that. And I don't have the ability to create aircraft carriers at present because I don't have the aircraft carrier tech. Building a lot of these livestock ranches. Hopefully that'll increase the Hopefully that'll allow us to, that'll get us producing more meat. Nice. Because again, meat is extremely expensive in the country. And although we are finally mostly producing our own meat and selling meat abroad, which is better than we were at before. If this continues, we'll be doing well. That's a successful war. Very nice. Very pleased with that outcome. Nothing particularly interesting happening there. Very, very good. Barracks getting built now. These will be done very soon. So what do we build next? And I think the answer may surprise you. Shock and amaze you, in fact. But I think I'm just going to build more cars. I think I need the cars, friends. I need the auto industry is mega profitable right now, and it just, you can't beat it. Not producing tanks yet, but we certainly will be, because we're chipping away at mobile armor as we speak. After that we'll snag flamethrowers, and then aircraft carrier, then chemical warfare. And then finally, we'll go back to doing something a little bit nicer. I've successfully dodged the bullet that is political agitation for a very, very long time. I'm almost done with elevators. Elevators have almost completely spread to the country, so that's going to give us a little bit more urban center throughput, which is going to be very nice for us overall. Law debate success. Compulsory primary school has gotten 10% increase. That's wonderful. Now that is going to increase the strength of the Catholics for the time being, because we've got religious schools once it's finished. But I think if we go over to public schools, we might be able to handle that. Was there a Danish movement in my country? I guess there was very brief. Oh, it was the Franco-Provençal national movement. Again, I don't know what leads to that movement being created and then disbanded, but it keeps happening. With taxes at Midland, we are starting to get more loyalists, and hopefully that's chipping away at our number of radicals. I'm really hoping it is, because, standard of living is going up, and GDP is spiking as well. We're still not above Great Britain, but we're potentially getting there. And being the world's leading car producer has been very, very good for our GDP overall. As for our... Oh, fleets need more leaders. Let's give you a promotion. Let's give you a promotion. You know what? We'll put another guy... We'll put that really good guy, that innovative protectionist in here. We'll give him a couple of promotions for when the other guy passes away. That'll be nice. That'll be very, very good. We've got a little bit more capacity to play with. I could increase Social Security investment, but I don't want my workforce ratio to go down any further than it's gone already, because we're a little bit short on labor in the country. And obviously I need to have the labor that I need to do the stuff that I want to do. Delicious water. I think I need another small army. There's elevators. Let me just go ahead and swap the urban center production method over to that. Do I make movies? I think I make movies. Nice, we're making movies. Is there anywhere in the country that I'm not doing this? I need to swap over to telephone switchboards for the whole country. I think I was being silly by trying to do it state by state. I think we're at our point where we've reached the end, and we should just do that. Obviously, that's going to give us a barrel full of bureaucracy, which is going to give us some extra construction efficiency, which is fine. Just fine. A sour truth. Debate event. Given the low wages that workers in Corsica are receiving, more and more parents are pushed to send their children to work to help sustain their families. This is madness. How are we supposed to help these people if they themselves are forcing their children to work? We must do something. Put an immediate halt to this barbaric decision. Well, it seems quite obvious that this is not something that they would want for their own children if they had other options, right? Judging these people based on their survival decisions won't help them either. We must stop this. 50% chance of increased success chance, by 10 or 20%. Petite bourgeoisie salty. 5% of lower stratum pops in Corsica become more radical, or they do what they need to. Trade unions a little unhappy. 50% chance each of increased enactment chance or no change. I'm going to go with the first one. We got 40% on that. Petite bourgeoisie being mad is an issue, but we still have enough bureaucracy that we're fine with this. So I don't need to... That's not actually going to create a problem for me. Very good. Can I reduce anyone else's autonomy? I can support more declared interests. Oh yeah, because I built more ships. That's fun. Ethiopia. Let's throw some in. Actually, I don't need Ethiopia. What I need is South America. We're hanging out in South America. Wars are going on. Wait, who's this war between? Is this war between... No, North German Federation is on the side of Great Britain, but against Spain. Ah, that was what that front over in Gibraltar was about. Well, that will do it. Actually, though, that is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun as well, and I will see you on the other side.